Jaden was tired after a hard day's work, but he was still sitting in his office and was in no hurry to go home. Everything in his luxurious but suddenly empty apartment literally reminded him of his ex-wife, the woman who left him for a lover with whom she had gone abroad, and Jaden never understood what he had done wrong. His ex-wife had everything: his attention, gifts, money, travel, the chance to dress up in the most expensive stores, but she still lacked something. Jaden loved his wife and took the breakup hard. He decided that no one woman will not enter his life again. He withdrew into himself and completely immersed in his work to distract himself. 5 years had passed since then, and in all those years, Jaden had stayed at work late every day. So today, it was already 8 p.m. when he finally turned off the light above his desk and left the office. It was chilly outside, and the man wrapped his coat, got into his car, and drove towards home. On the way, he stopped at a supermarket, and after leaving the car in a parking lot, he headed out to buy some groceries to replenish the bachelor's refrigerator. At the door of the supermarket, Jason involuntarily stopped when he saw a young woman standing on the corner with a visibly rounded belly. The poor woman had a small cup of change in her hands, and without thinking, he took a large bill out of his purse and gave it to her, and then continued on his way. As he left, he heard the woman thank him, almost in a whisper. After choosing the necessary groceries, Jaden went to the cash register, but thoughts of the pregnant woman did not give him any peace. He tried to understand what had made her stand and ask for alms. Thinking that the woman was probably in some kind of trouble, he decided to ask her if she needed help. He paid at the cash register and hurried to the exit, but the woman was already gone. Jaden walked around the supermarket building several times, cursing himself for not immediately figuring out the situation, but he did not meet the woman and went home. Jaden could not sleep for a long time, thinking about the pregnant stranger. He tried all kinds of things in his mind that would make her go out in such a cold and ask for alms. After lying awake all night, he finally realized that he had to do something about it. The next day, Jaden, for the first time in a long time, finished his work on time and left for the same store. He was worried that he might not meet her again, but when he drove up to the supermarket, he saw her in the same place. Carefully, trying not to frighten the woman with his insistence, he approached her and said hello. She hesitated a little, but she also said hello in return, recognizing in the stranger the man who had given her a large bill yesterday. Jaden looked at her and for some reason felt some strange feeling for this unfortunate woman. "Do you maybe need some help? Please, tell me what happened," asked Jaden. "Well, it's a long story and not interesting," sighed the woman, eyeing Jaden incredulously. "Let's sit in a cafe, and you will tell me your story. You must be hungry, right? Will you keep me company?" The woman hesitated a little, but agreed nonetheless. They went into a small cafe near the supermarket, and Jaden ordered 2 hearty dinners and a large pot of hot tea. The woman's name was Hope. After waiting for her to eat dinner, Jaden asked her to tell him about herself once again, and she sighed and told him her sad story. Hope met a guy at a friend's birthday party. He was a foreigner. The girl immediately fell in love, and he reciprocated her feelings. He was caring, attentive, and Hope completely lost her head from his advances in tenderness. One day, he invited her to a picnic by the lake, and there, in the lap of nature, under the singing birds, they became close. At the recollection of this, Hope's look changed, and there was no trace of the dreamy smile on her face. Pain froze in her eyes, and Jason realized that she had been betrayed, just as he had been too. After what happened, he didn't leave me. On the contrary, he spent even more time with me, spoke beautiful words, gave me gifts," said Hope, as if reading Jaden's thoughts. "But when I told him a couple of weeks later that I got pregnant, he seemed to get discouraged at once and said he was rushing to attend an important meeting. I haven't seen him again. I was living with my parents at that time, and they're very strict. So I couldn't tell them about the baby. I couldn't dare to have an abortion also, so I hid the pregnancy as long as I could. When my parents found out, there was a terrible scandal. Then they kicked me out, saying that I could come back if I made the right decision and get rid of the problem. At first I lived with my friend in the dormitory. Then I rented a room from an old lady, and I cook and clean there for her, but I can't live there with a newborn baby. I can't get a job because I'm pregnant either. That's why I am here, to survive." Hope stopped talking, and tears welled up in her eyes. Jaden felt insanely sorry for this woman, because he knew very well how hard it was when a loved one betrayed you. "You know what?" he suddenly said. "Why don't you stay with me for a while? You don't have to pay me. I make good money, and my apartment is big. There's enough room for everyone." "Thank you, of course, but no. I appreciate your dinner, but I have to go now." Hope got up and left the cafe, and Jaden sat there for a long time, staring into the void. He decided firmly that he would come again tomorrow and try to persuade her to move in with him for a while. But the next day, he waited a long time for Hope outside the supermarket, but she never showed up. Nor did she come the next day. Jaden was seriously worried that something had happened to her. He remembered that Hope had told him about a friend she had lived with in the dormitory for a while, and he went there. In the dormitory, after describing Hope's appearance to the receptionist, Jaden found her friend, who told Jaden that Hope went into premature labour and was taken to the maternity hospital. Jaden thanked Hope's friend for the information and hurriedly said goodbye and left the dormitory. In less than half an hour, he was already standing outside the children's intensive care unit. Hope was looking lovingly and anxiously at her infant son, who was in a special transparent box for premature babies. The man cautiously called out to the girl, and she turned around and couldn't hide her surprise. "How are you?" he asked, and stepped closer to her. "Terrible. My son is fighting for his life, and there's nothing I can do to help him." "I think everything will be all right. He will make it." He tried to reassure the young woman. Jaden affectionately squeezed her hand. He felt sorry for the poor woman, and he knew he would never leave her alone. 2 months passed. Fortunately, the boy quickly gained strength, and by the day of discharge, he was no different from the other babies. Jaden was by Hope's side the entire time, supporting her not only morally, but also financially. The man was happy, and Hope also enjoyed his attention and care. And if at first she felt only gratitude, as time went by, she realized that she loved Jaden with all her heart. On the day of discharge, Jaden decided to surprise Hope. He had realized long ago that he could not live without Hope and her son. He drove up to the doors of the maternity hospital in a limousine and, with a huge bouquet of roses, and went to Hope. "Well, why go to such expense?" smiled Hope embarrassedly. "It must all be insanely expensive." "Darling, there comes a time in everyone's life when you have to realize that you can't go on without a beloved person," said Jason, and knelt down on one knee in front of Hope. "I want to go on in life only with you. Hope, marry me, and we will have the happiest family in the world." Hope looked at the incredible man fondly, and wiping away her tears of happiness, she said she agreed. Jaden immediately rose from his knees and kissed his future wife, to the applause of the maternity hospital staff.